Hey, Shalom and welcome to the Karmak Pasture from GMS London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Chachadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, preaching his truth in all sincerity. Back again with another video. And just recently, we had here in the UK law passed to, produce these or to roll out these digital IDs, compulsory IDs, right? I think they're calling it the brick card, right, or whatever, right? Because they quote unquote we have to tackle immigration, because everywhere's got an immigration crisis, funny enough, right? And this is their reason for bringing in this digital ID system, okay, which is the pathway to the MOTB, right? And we keep telling you this, our elders, apostles on down, right, that this is where it all leads to, man. What on the surface seems like like these presidents and prime ministers have genuine concern for the population, right? So we've got an immigrant crisis, so we're gonna we need to cut down this immigrant problem, and so we're gonna make sure everyone's got a digital ID so they can be verified, and all these different types of things to help you, right? It's always gonna be from this angle, right? Because the devil is never gonna come out and tell you, yeah, we want to put you in slavery. So we're bringing out this technology. They're never going to openly come out and say that, right? So they have to cause problems, and for solutions to be brought out, right? And so they got people annoyed with the immigration crisis, right? Because it's not done by accident. This is a situation of their creating. All right, and now they're using that situation to bring in this this digital ID, which they want everybody to take, right? So they just recently passed this, and already people are opposing this idea. As you see in this article here from the Guardian 4 hours ago, more than 1.6 million signed petition opposing Starmer's plans for digital ID cards, right? So we'll see where that goes, but they just kind of dropped this yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, right? So that's what they did, right? So like I said, this is all a pathway to the MOTB, right? They're laying down more of the foundations to get you to take that RFID CHIP. All right, so let me open up here Revelations 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? This is the end goal, right? All this digital ID stuff, right, is going to be on your persons, like literally a part of your persons, right? Because at the moment, what they're talking about, this being like an app on your phone, all right? They want to transfer that ultimately, onto a person's body, right? So that you can't kind of escape it, right? Because your phone is not attached to you. You can you can dip your phone. You can go leave your phone somewhere, hide your phone or whatever, right? You can do whatever with your phone. It's not attached to you, right? But they're gonna want to be able to ID everybody at any time, right? And be constantly surveyed, by this AI machine that these Edomites, these elites are building, right? That's why they're investing so much into AI technology. They got all these data centers everywhere, huge data centers processing all this information real time. All right, so they want a part of you so they can watch you diligently, right? Let's just okay. So let me just read some of this. Right, this from BBC News. What is the plan for digital IDs? Will they be mandatory? September 26th, right? So this is The government has announced plans to introduce a digital ID system across the UK, with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer saying it will ensure the country's borders are more secure, right, for your safety, right? It's all for your safety, right? Peace destroy many. Pop up, right? Similar thing Antiochus did back in the day, right? Daniel 8 verse 25. And through his policy, he also shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand, right? So the point being, they're gonna bring things, into being, right? Which they're gonna say is for your benefit, for your safety, right? For your prosperity, whatever, right? Oh, another one. Um, peace and safety. Peace, safety. That right? Nope. Get that right around, right? So yeah, First Thessalonians 5:3. So for when they should say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. As travail upon a woman with child, they shall not escape. Right. So we're heading into this time, right, where there's so much problems in the earth, right? These governments are gonna step in and try to, bring solutions, right? When I say try, they're gonna bring in, what they call solutions, right? And it's gonna come in form of this oppressive technology, which they're gonna say, oh, it's not oppressive. It's we just want to make sure everyone's all right. Everyone's all right, But it's oppressive. What they're planning is oppressive, and people are speaking out about it. Even other politicians are speaking out, saying this is an oppressive, policy. All right. It goes on to say that IDs will not have to be carried day to day, but will be compulsory for anyone wanting to work. Right. The government says the scheme will be rolled out by the end of the parliament, meaning before the next general election, which by law must be held no later than August 2029. Right. So, maybe we'll have a little bit more time, but this is what they're looking to bring in. All right. So, we'll see how things go. Right. But this is what, convenient enough, what everybody, all these other nations are trying to implement digital ID, because they all suffer an immigration problem, and this is their answers. Which is not really their answer, but the elites, have set this up, as part of their plan. Right. You're going to cause an immigration crisis and problems in the people and all this kind of business, and you're going to bring in this ID technology, man. You're going to ID all your peoples, right? That's just next step of the plan. Okay. Why is the government introducing digital IDs? The digital IDs will be used to prove a person's right to live and work in the UK. They will take the form of an app-based system stored on smartphones in a similar way to the NHS app or digital bank cards, right? So at the moment, this idea, this method is phone-based, app-based, right? But we know what we just read in Revelation chapters 13 and 16, that they want this stuff to really be in your hand and your forehead. Right, you're gonna have this technology, this identification, these different types of verifications, right, in your hand, okay, on your forehead. It says information on the holder's residency status, name, date of birth, nationality, and photo will be included. Announcing the scheme, Sir Keir said, "You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have a digital ID. It's as simple as that." Right. So even if you are a citizen, and you've been living there years, right? You've been fully certified for years, and you decide you don't want to get this app now. You don't want to do this whole digital system thing. You can't work, regardless of your actual your status. I say you might have been here for years, born here and all of that. But if you don't get this app now, you won't be able to work. So you have to do this, right? You will have to do this under them, right? And like I said, it's the same. It's the dragon causing, or the beast causing, right? Causing you to take this mark, right? And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. It's the same thing. They're going to cause you or force you or position you in such a way that you have to take it. That you have to take it, because the other option is death or great suffering. And so it's like that. That's what they call that, an ultimatum, right? You won't be able to work if you don't have this ID, right? Man needs to work. Man needs to work, right? How do you make money? How do you feed your family? So you have to. It's not a choice, really. Okay, the ultimatum is going to be there, and it's the same thing when it gets to the point where the man are handing out RFID chips, right? Just the same thing is going to take place. You're going to be kind of forced to do it because you won't be able to do without it. Do without it, you know, right? Like I said, you won't be able to buy or sell, right? Same with this. You won't be able to go buy nothing because you ain't earning no money. Can't earn no money, you know. But like I said, this is just a pathway. This is a pathway to that RFID, MOTB system, right? This is just a stepping stone along the way there. But it's getting you used to the idea that, you know, this information is going to be required of you, that you're going to have to be signed up to, you know, all these different systems and databases and whatever, right? Which is only they wanted to, you know, want to make one. So let's go back, way back, right? So 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, we are not ignorant of his devices. So, you know, like I said, we're giving you the heads up, you know, what Satan's planning, you know, what he's looking to do with these systems that he's trying to implement, right? And it's, you know, you know, as I say, it's up to you what you want to do with information, but ultimately the Heavenly Father is gonna, you know, sort out what he wants to do with you, man. If you're of the elect, you know, you're not gonna, you know, come to the time with the MOTB and take his mark because you're not destined to. The Most High don't want you to, right? But everybody else, you're going to be under strain and stress and pressure, and you're going to take it. You know, like I said, this is not it. This is just a stepping stone. But, you know, it's good to be aware that this is where things is headed, right? So we're letting you know. We're blowing that trumpet. We're letting you know. We're warning you. You know, this is where it's going to end up. This is why he's doing this. You know. Is Psalm 64 verse 2 says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, right? Because really these orders, you know, are coming from the elites, right? And that's why these other nations are working on the same thing, right? Everywhere seems to have an immigration problem here in the West, right? And so they need these ideas, these solutions to you know, to come about, right? And this is, you know, the answer they're coming with, right? That everybody needs to be, you know, put in this digital database to be verified, right? But like I say, that advances to, you know, taking the MOTB in the future. All right. It says, who whet their tongue like a sword, and they bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly they shoot him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Right, for the most part, people don't understand or see what this devil's doing. Some, you know, kind of got an idea of some sort. Right, they don't like the idea of what they're doing, but you know, a lot of the time they're just a lot of these guys that speak out are just what do you call it, man? Controlled oppositions. Right, they're set up as well. They're agents, right, just to fan the flames because Esau wants chaos. Right, this is what you got to understand about the devil. The devil plays every side, right, to what's going on, right? So you got those that are set up to be as an opposition, to have people refuse, right? Because what Esau wants is chaos. The more chaos that he can bring, the more reason he got to, you know, bring in, you know, his new world order, his new systems, his MOTB, right? Because you give him the perfect excuse. He wants problems, right? But he wants to also control the problem. So that's why he sets up these agents on these different sides, you know, to offer out these oppositions, these opposing opinions. All right, it's very snaky, but that's his nature, man. All right, but he's very subtle, very you know, sneaky. All right. Verse 6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought and of every one of them, and the heart is deep. All right. So they're constantly plotting and scheming on, you know, getting to the next phase, the next round of you know, of their plan, you know. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light, right? Because all these leaders we got, they're here supposedly, you know, supposed to be helping us, right? That's what you vote them in for, right? It's where you vote Trump and Starmer and these different types of dudes, right? To make your country better, to make your life better. All right, but no matter what seems to be going on, life always seems to get worse. All right, and now you're getting, you know, people bringing in policies that normally they wouldn't bring in because usually, you know, their party's lined up where they're against certain things, but Trump's bringing in digital IDs and whatever, and Starmer's bringing in. What these men are not meant to be doing all that, but they're different sides of the paradigm in terms of on the political spectrum, but they're doing the same thing. I would say it's weird, but it is weird. But this is again, it's just all set up. But usually they don't. People on the opposite spectrums of politics, they don't have. They don't want to do what the other wants to do. You know what I mean? They got different opinions, but they're in one. They're in one concerning these things. And that's what they're pushing right now. Right? More surveillance, more control. Okay. Says therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. Right? So they're just playing that role, as to be righteous and to be saviors, to be helpful. And really they're plotting your demise. Okay, they're plotting your demise, man. Okay, they're plotting your slavery. Chill. Right? Let me get Psalms 55 verse 21 says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Because we got immigration problem. We need to get a handle on immigration issues, right? Oh, it's an enormous opportunity. What opportunity are you talking about, bro? Damn paywalls, right? Keir Starmer says digital ID cards are an enormous opportunity for the UK. Really? Why? All right, let's see what he says. Digital ID cards present an enormous opportunity for UK. Keir Starmer has said as the government braces for a civil liberties row over the proposals. Right? Yeah, a whole bunch of upheaval. Right? The Prime Minister will set out the measures on Friday morning. Blah 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 blah. Politicians can tackle the problems facing the UK, including addressing voter concern around immigration. Immigration is the big problem of the day, right? The proposal for a brick card will require legislation and are already facing opposition from civil liberty groups concerned about privacy. Addressing those concerns, the Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy said the government had no intentions of pursuing a dystopian mess. You trust the government? Trust the government? No, this is straight 1984, man. No, don't trust the government. What's the last thing you want to do, right? But they're gonna set up the Ministry of Truth, right? Their Ministry of Truth, and anything they say is gonna go. Speaking on Friday, Starmer said, "I know working people are worried about the level of illegal immigration into this country. A secure border and controlled migration are reasonable demands, and this government is listening and delivering." What? So the answer is digital ID. Why don't you just stop the boats coming? As they say, stop the boats. The boats. Digital ID is an enormous opportunity for the UK. It will make it tougher to work illegally in this country, making our borders more secure. It will also offer ordinary citizens countless benefits. Ooh, sounds great, right? Like being able to prove your identity to access key service swiftly. Bro, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I should be able to walk and go places and get seen, dealt with swiftly anyway. Like, but now what? I got to prove this and prove that. Or no, don't worry, you just do it in the app though. Now you ain't got to pull out your driving license no more. You ain't got to do all this business now. It shouldn't have been those rules shouldn't have been up in the first place. But again, that's something else that they've created to make it long and arduous, and you get sick and tired of doing it. Oh, but now we've made it convenient. Now it's in that app. Now you just show your phone and everything. They got all the information there. You ain't got to do all this long shit. But again, as I said, it's another thing they set up, right? Says rather than hunting around for an old utility bill, the Prime Minister, writing in the Telegraph, said Labour had shied away previously from addressing concerns over immigration, and that it is now essential to tackle every aspect of the problem of illegal immigration. Right, so they've gone from 0 to 100 there. We wasn't really doing it before. That sounds exactly like when the the American administration was talking about just health the health sector in general. Oh, we've ignored you black people for so long, and now we're going to push you first to take the the CV-19 thing. It's like what? What's with the sudden U-turn? Because they want you to get it. They want you to get it, right? It's the same. It sounds like the same thing. Oh, we've ignored it for such a long time, and now we're gonna go straight into it hard, raw. Um, he argued that it was possible to be concerned about immigration while rejecting reform's UK toxic approach. So they play off these other groups, man, to make it seem like they're the good guys and all of this. Whatever, man. So yeah, the civil liberties group reacted with concern over the proposals. Silky Carlo, sounds like some gangster name. The director of Big Brother Watch said digital IDs would turn the UK into a checkpoint society that is wholly un-British. Digital IDs would do absolutely nothing to deter small boats, but would make Britain less free, creating a domestic mass surveillance infrastructure that will likely sprawl from citizenship to benefits, tax, health, possibly even internet data and more. Which I say all they're going to do in the future create issues concerning these other things, because there's already issues in some of these things already, right? But the issue will get out of hand and so, well, we need to take it to the next step. We need to do this with this, right? That's how it goes. That's how it's been going, right? So I don't think anything any different is going to take place. As incredibly sensitive information about each and every one of us will be hoarded by the state and vulnerable to cyber attacks. Yeah, but that's true anyway. To be honest, having all this information out there on the internet anyway, these different places are always getting fucking hacked. Starmer has no mandate to force the population to carry digital IDs, and millions of us will simply not do it. The cost to the public purse will likely run into billions. Well, yeah, you might not want to do it, and you might not want to carry it, but guess what? You won't be able to go to work. Because they make all the companies require the employees to have this digital ID now, and you ain't got it, and you don't want to get it. Well, fine, then you ain't got a job. Same thing that they were threatening people over the the stabbing jab, the V shots, right? If you didn't have it, sometimes contracts were getting terminated, man, getting forced out of the job. Says it will likely run into the billions, much like Blair's failed scheme, but the cost to our freedoms will be even more serious. He is making an enormous mistake and should drop the plans sooner rather than later, right? So, you got people speaking out against it already, right? But like I said, these men are always plotting and scheming, right? So again here, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords, right? So, he give you all the niceties about the situation. Oh, we need to do this, for your good. But we know what these men abuse, their positions, right? Let me read this. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. To see that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil, right? So only expect things to get worse, right? The times we live in are evil, right? So best believe, this isn't going to make everything right. Nothing's going to be right. Everything's going to get worse, right? Because this place needs to be destroyed, right? Let me grab this quick. 2 Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings or princes, right? So you're going to have elements of societies around the world that are not going to, really be doing what they're told, what these governments are telling them to do, right? And so they're going to be looked at as rebellious and extreme or terroristic or whatever, right? They're going to be labeled, right? Or you must have something to hide, so they're going to be labeled all these different things, and that that includes us, right? Because we're not going to be down with the MLTBs and all that kind of business. So okay, when it gets to that point, it's like, no, we ain't doing that. Okay, yeah, you might be able to have an app, but you ain't getting me to take no fucking implantable. I'll tell you that for free, right? Though willing, but but just don't be, like I said, this is where this is a stepping stone towards that that agenda, that plan. All right. But yeah, it's causing sedition among people. Right. And people are going to start being disobedient to the state. Okay. And that's all part of the signs of the end, right? So again, we're going to close out on this. 2 Ezra chapter 9 verse 1 said, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, right? This is an uproar. Okay, 1.6 million people are signing petitions. Let me come out of this. Where is it? Yeah, more than 1.6 million sign a petition opposing Starmer's plan for digital ID cards. Right. So, like I said, if let's say, they ignore them, because this number probably will go up in time, but then the government just ignores them, bring them in anyway, it's going to cause great resentment, man. Right. And, Starmer's going to have a different type of problem on his hands. Right. Yeah, every adult in Britain require new Brit card ID. Right. So again, these are all part of the science, right? It says, therefore, it's like in verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay, the end is manifesting, man. And like I say, we're keeping you, in the loop as to what these things mean and what's really going on here. All things concerning prophecy. All right, so that you're aware of, the tactics that the devil's trying to put on you, man. So you're not deceived. But again, it's only the elect that won't be deceived, man. So really, this is for the elect's benefit, right? But it's not going to be the benefit to anybody else, because they're not going to believe or receive it anyway, But, we do what we got to do. All right, but, I'm going to end it there. Lord, this has been edifying. And I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.